Let me take you through the 5 mistakes to avoid when you decide to do Facebook ads. As the old saying goes, you can't sell ice to Eskimos. And likewise, you shouldn't be trying to sell your products to the wrong people. You wouldn't be wasting your time and money in real life, so why do it on Facebook ads? Mistake number 1 is not targeting your ideal customer and maybe not even understanding them in any depth at all. Facebook isn't just a social media platform, and it isn't just an advertising platform. It is an extensive database of customer information. It is in an amazingly unique position, as people supply basic demographic information about themselves. But then Facebook is tracking every like, every interest, every share, every conversion that you do, and linking all those dots together, giving you the advertising advantage to hone in on your perfect customer. And yet, I still couldn't tell you the amount of times that I've seen ads targeted simply at a country, or just targeted at men or women. A friend even admitted to me in her early days of Facebook ads that she targeted all of Australia. But what would have happened if she got a sale in, say, Broome? And at that stage, she wouldn't have been set up to travel there. Instead, her Facebook ad spend could have been used in places to which she was traveling. My friend learnt that lesson, and don't worry, if this is one of the mistakes you've done, we've all been there. Sometimes we get caught up in that reach number, being as large as possible, thinking we are opening up the opportunity for more sales. But a lot of the time, it just means you're wasting money on people who are not interested in your product. We need to make sure we filter them out, spending our money on people who are a close fit for our product or services, and removing as many of those uninterested people as possible. Therefore, you need to match the Facebook audience with your target audience, with your ideal customer avatar, your ICA. Become clear on your customer. And if you're having a little trouble with understanding them in detail, let me introduce you to a tool set in the Facebook Business Manager. The Business Manager helps you with all your advertising and marketing needs and contains the Ad Manager. But it also contains this useful tool, Facebook's Audience Insight toolset. I'm going to admit it wasn't until I got into Facebook ads and the targeting that I could really focus in on my ideal customer. I admit I was a bit lost on what magazines they read, who they followed, what other sites they liked, but this toolset helped me make everything clear and actually helped me make some important decisions along the way too. Let's have a look. First, we're going to go into your Business Manager, that is business.facebook.com. This is an area where you can do all your advertising and marketing needs and page admin control. And you can log in, or if you haven't created it previously, you can set yourself up in it and attach your business pages. You can actually do a boosting ad without setting this up, but you are losing out on a lot of tools if you do. You can see here that you have the Ad Manager, and this is the area where you can get your Facebook pixels, which I'll talk through later. But the tool I'm introducing you to is the Facebook Insights tool. You can get insights on everyone on Facebook, or you can actually drill in and only get insights on the people already on your page. Because we're starting out and trying to work out more about our clients, and maybe we don't have a large following yet, and you need a few to show them in the insights, then we will use the Everyone on Facebook option. In the filters down the left side, it will automatically default to the United States for location, but you can adjust that. It will show filters for age, gender, interests. You can restrict into those connected to your pages or videos or not. And the advanced section has things like job roles and marital status. On the demographics area, you can see the grayed area is the average across Facebook, and the blue area is the breakdown for the audience filtering that you have done on the left side. For example, when I started doing ads for my Facebook ad course, I was looking for small business people. So I'll put in Australia and some interests and job titles in, and I'll look at the breakdown for the amount of people that I get. I'm seeing that the 25 and up age bracket holds a lot of my people, and I also know that my perfect ICA didn't actually grow up with technology and needs a hand. So I'm actually going to limit my age bracket to 40 and maybe to the 64-year bracket. My audience goes down. That means I save some of my advertising dollars and hone in on that age group. Now I'm going to skip over to the activity page first. The reason I like it is to check if people in this group will click on ads. Well, that's good. They're above the average. In fact, they're actually double. I might even check what it's like for men and for women. So ads clicked, men 36, women 43, much more by the women, and men do about 12 comments and women over double that with 27. So for this group, that's showing me that the women are more engaged. This was actually what helped me decide that women were my ICA. Of course, I love having men in my audience, but if I could target to one gender, then I can focus my language to them specifically. And you'll tend to see some very different page interests between the genders. As long as I've got a big enough initial reach audience, then I actually will get better interaction if they are women, which means my ads will do better in the Facebook algorithm. And when they join my page, I'll get better interaction because they'll all be commenting. Of course, it is different in every niche. And after I finish this audience, I'll show you the vast differences you can get in other audiences. So I'm going to keep my filter on women, and I'm going to add in some more specific women-based groups into the interest area to push out my reach a bit more, and I can see how that's affected my total reach. Let's look at the pages they like to get to know them a little better. Now, I knew that Business Chicks is a networking organisation for business women, but if I didn't know about it, I could see it here and I would add it into my target group. Sometimes the information on this page gives you another interest to add to your targeting, and sometimes it's so you can get to know your person better. There is a plethora of information. What companies they like, what clothing, what shopping, what public figures. For example, I can see they like deals for holidays. Renovating seems to come up a bit, and healthy food. And they like Baileys. That's something that could link us together because I love Baileys. So if I have a lifestyle shot in one of my ads, then I'm probably going to have a bottle of Baileys there as well. Do you see how powerful this can be? It can help you with your ad copy, your images, and your language, and give you a deep understanding of your ideal customer. You can also control and click to open a page if you don't know what that page is, and it'll open it in another tab. I'll open the Cherie Barber one. Now, I like to do this so I can get an idea of the language that's being used in the pages that they follow, the images they like and engage with, and things where I can connect with them. Cherie gets good engagement on her page, especially with those ABCD image options. So for my organic posts, I might try some of those. And then we go right to the bottom of the page, to the page like section, and we can see the affinity or the correlation between our group of people and these pages that they've liked. So we can see how closely linked they are. So I'll definitely be looking at these top ones. And finally, I'm going to look at the location page, and this will tell me the cities that these people are in. It defaults by the compare column, which really shows me how they compare to the average Facebook users. But I actually want to click on the selected audience column to see really where they're from. And I do expect them to be in the major cities, but then I'll find some that surprise me, like Moreton Island. If I'm doing full research, then I would choose some locations and filter to them and then re-look at the page likes, because I can get some very specific information then about that group. The only problem is that you need to have about 10,000, even 50,000 or more in the audience to get the detail. But I have found that audience insights can be a little temperamental. And weirdly, I got the information for a group of about 6,000 or 1,000 one time, but I couldn't get it for a group of 80,000. Sometimes when it happens with the large groups, I'd actually refresh the page as well, and it will come up then. I've gone into the Gold Coast location, and although the number isn't as high as I thought I'd need, I still can actually see this data set. And for this group, I might talk about a lovely holiday that I had and visiting the Currumbin RSL. So you can make use of all of this sort of information if you drill in. Now let me show you that it isn't all women audiences. For example, let's put golf in Australia, and you can see that 63% are men. So it's likely you would do an ICA of men. But if you're doing both, I would then look at the page likes separately. So you can see here I've got men, and I get a lot about AFL and tools. When I do women, I see a lot about holidays and clothing. And interestingly, the women still comment more. And that's because they comment more in average across Facebook as well. And maybe you're a little lost with the interests to add in. These can be interests and pages, behaviors, device usage like who uses an iPhone, or even event-based like who just got married. To get a few more suggestions, go to the Business Manager menu, Assets, and the Audiences. We're going to create a saved audience and type in a starting word, and you'll see the options and suggestions that list below, and you can add those. But then try the suggestions option, or even try the browse option to drill into the options that are available. You can also type in business pages or public figures, but Facebook has not really got a determining factor on who it'll show and not, or not one that they expose to us. For example, there is another business women's group in Australia with probably around the same number of members as the Business Chicks, but it doesn't show up. Sometimes you're lucky and a competitor shows up in the list. But try and think outside the box about an influencer in your arena so you can see more options. While I'm here, I'm going to show you one more thing. All these steps are to increase our audience, but for it to be people that are more interested in our product. So you keep adding into this box, and it basically means or, with real estate broker or licensed real estate agent. But I want them to be a subset. I only want the ones that run the business page admin, who actually does the postings. So I'm going to use the narrow audience option and do business page admins. So this means I want anyone who's a real estate broker or a licensed real estate agent. So either of those, but they also need to be the business page admin person. Now I know this all seems like a bit of work, but please don't skip it. It's one of the fundamental steps in marketing and will set you up for success. So I suggest that you do the research with this tool set and have a goal for your ICA to work out 30 interests, jobs or pages that they like, and split them into items for targeting, grouping them if you can for subsections. And the other column would be for information that you've found out about them that you could use in your ad copy or images. I also like to work out some locations where I can really target in, so that I can also run some very specific ads that really make my ICA feel like I get them. I understand them. You should then have a clearer picture of your customer and how you're going to target in on them, and possibly some ideas towards some ads. Targeting is really important, and that's why I believe the second mistake that is made is that businesses use boosting of their posts instead of creating Facebook ads. Now, I'm not saying this is so terrible. Boosting is such an easy method for you to use. So easy to set up, and it can still do targeting. My concerns with it are twofold. Boosting can be so easy that those that use it tend to not be using it as part of a strategy. I fell into this trap. When I started out with my Nikki Tech Tips Facebook group, I wanted to share my really cool tips around. I got caught up in seeing the likes increase. I was boosting posts here and there, and it wasn't horrible. My page did increase, but there was absolutely no strategy to my boosting at all. More of a scattergun approach. And realistically, I wasted a lot of money. I think now of what I could have done if I had strategically used it to clearly target my audience. And I'll revisit this a bit more in mistake number 3. So strategy is part of it. In fact, it is all of it, because my other concern with boosting is that you miss out on some very strategic selling opportunities. With a boost, you can target one group of people, and then that's it. You can't tell afterwards if you've already targeted them, if they bought, if they watched your video, if they took your freebie, and you can't even tell which people they were. Whereas with Facebook ads, I can retarget those same people again and again, knowing how they've interacted with my ads. Why would I want to do this? Well, sometimes people might see your ad and be open to it, but get distracted by, say, their kids. And if I retarget them again at a different time, then they might be available to purchase. It is a very important strategy. I also wanted to point out that using an existing post for an ad can sometimes be really effective. I especially love Facebook Lives being used in this way, but don't boost it. Use Facebook ads and use the existing post function that's in there. Now, I talked earlier about how important it is to have a strategy. You just don't jump up in front of someone's face and say, buy this product. It just wouldn't be successful trying to get a sale from someone we would class as cold. And this is mistake number 3. Oh, so often, small business owners think that throwing up Facebook ads in front of prospects should get instant sales. In real life, we nurture our prospects. We build our know, like, and trust with them. And then when the prospect has moved from cold to warm and then hot, that is finally when we do the offer. Moving from awareness of our brand, consideration by trying some of our freebies, and finally being ready for the conversion stage. We can move our prospects through the same funnel with ads. Facebook even helps us by checking with you on what is your campaign's objective. Facebook actually optimizes their placement of the ads based on this objective. For example, if it's a brand awareness ad, they'll distribute it to people who watch those types of ads. But if it was a conversion ad, then they'd distribute it to more people who click on the links and convert to sales. Remember in the audience tool that we could see if people clicked on links or liked posts or shared. That's the level of data that Facebook has and can make use of to make your ad even more successful. After all, it might not seem like it, but Facebook does want your ads to be successful, because if we're successful, then what are we going to do? We're going to invest more money in ads. Sometimes these audiences can be very different, and you'd be throwing away money if you choose the wrong objective. I've tested this, and I saw clearly that the wrong objective made a difference in my bottom line. And because you're nurturing those same people through the process, you can understand why being able to retarget people in the different stages is so important. When they're in the awareness stage, I put out an ad about my brand. If they've watched my ad, then I'd move them into the consideration stage and offer them a freebie. If they took my freebie, then I'd move them into the conversion stage and make them an offer. Utilizing the retargeting audience feature within a step-by-step strategy without breaking the bank is one of the frameworks I focus on in my course. And you need a strategy, because although Facebook ads have a higher return than any other advertising platform, as you can see here, there are still a lot of people vying for that audience. So how do you get seen in that crowd? You have to stand out. And not standing out is the 4th mistake I see. I'm not sure what your life is like late at night, but after work I completely zone out with my phone in my hand, scrolling through my newsfeed. It has to be something good to get me to stop. I'm going to tell you about 2 methods in this training, and I've got some more up my sleeve. The first one is that bright colours draw attention. Look at this ad that I plucked out of my newsfeed. It was actually my Instagram feed, but it hit the point I wanted to make. I paused on it. The bright yellow just stood out. Now, I'm not saying that you should all use yellow, but in some of your ads, try different colours as a background or a bright font for your text. The other types of ads that make me pause are usually video ads. Action draws attention, and that's why video is king. Look at these stats. It makes it very clear that video is the way forward. The stats show it, and it's shown through my own ad experience. So most of my ads are video. Of course, there is always the exception, and you can test it with your audience. Now, before you get too worried, I know that video scares a lot of people, but I've actually broken it down in my course with my Ready, Set, Action strategy for video. Because when I talk about video, I'm actually talking about action and movement on the screen. I guide people through creating the different levels of action. You can start with a slideshow ad, an animation ad, or a Facebook Live ad. So you don't have to be out there with your face on video until you're ready, and can still have ads that stand out in the crowd. Next time you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, I want you to be aware of the ads that make you stop, or the ads that grab your attention, and take notes about them. Taking note of what works for other people is good. Of course, once your ads are up and running, it would be even better to know if your ads were working too. And this is the final mistake, not knowing if your ads are working or giving you a return. I think this quote from Scott Graflis sums it up. If you don't collect any metrics, then you're flying blind. If you collect and focus on too many, they may be obstructing your field of view. Facebook has all these analytics, but sometimes I think it's this second part that deters people the most from tracking their metrics. If you look in Ads Manager, you have all these columns showing stats and it starts to turn into gobbledygook. So let's break it down. Back to basics. For each ad, I need to know if it's achieving its objective. What do I compare against? Well, initially you don't have enough of a track record, so you want to compare against some industry averages. Here are some for you. Once you've got some ads up and running, then you can see your track record for those types of objectives. If the ad is not doing well, then you need to delve into some more metrics to check if the image, the words, the placement, or the targeting are achieving. And that is where you might do some test ads with slightly different parts. They call this split testing. I suppose it gets a little hard because for different objectives you have different metrics that should be followed. I've aligned a cheat sheet in my course for my complete strategy and the metrics that you should be checking. But some basics are, for awareness ads, I would generally be checking video views, but if you're not using videos, then reach or likes. For consideration ads and conversion ads, I would be wanting to see the conversion rate. Did they take up the freebie or the offer? Which brings me to an important point. To track for conversion rates, then you need to have your Facebook pixel in place. What is a Facebook pixel? It's simply a bit of code that Facebook gives you in your business manager and you put it on your website in the header section. That way your website and Facebook communicate, and Facebook can give you the stats when people go to certain pages. I guide those on my course through the steps, but there are instructions in the Business Manager to help you if you want to do it yourself. We've gone through a lot in this workshop, so let me remind you of the key points. But let's not talk in negative terms anymore. I like what Oprah says. Failure is a great teacher, and if you're open to it, every mistake has a lesson to offer. You've learned the mistakes, and now you're going to use these as opportunities to make successful ads. The first fundamental opportunity for you is now you know your customer in depth and you have the Facebook Insights tool to help you hone in on them. You understand that boosting isn't a strategy, but instead we'll use the targeting and retarget through Facebook ads. And you'll be doing this with a strategy in place, walking your prospects through the awareness, consideration and conversion stages. Your ads will stand out in the crowd and you will be tracking how they're performing so you can make improvements. I get that Facebook ads might seem scary, or you might have been burnt in the past and feel just like 62% of small business owners who don't feel their ads were effective. But I can help you move past those feelings. So if you need more assistance, please look at one of my courses or packages at www.automatenow.com.au. Thanks for watching the video. Please like or share it and subscribe to make sure you get future tips.